German Empire, October 15th, 1844. The city of Rücken, the province of Saxony. A boy who would challenge the thought patterns of the then modern world was born. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche was born to his mother, Franziska Oehler, and Karl Ludwig Nietzsche, his Lutheran pastor father, on this day. In 1846, their daughter Elizabeth was born, and their second son, Ludwig Joseph, was born in 1848. Naturally, since Karl was a pastor, the Nietzsche family was very involved with the church when they were in their prime. Unfortunately, this prime didn't last long, for in 1849, when young Friedrich was only 4 years old, his father died of a brain disease. The next year, in 1850, Ludwig Joseph passed away as well, at the age of 2. Friedrich, still very young, felt betrayed after these deaths in his family occurred. These family deaths stemmed within him a growing distrust of religion, which would forever shift how he viewed the world. Nietzsche began to ponder at countless aspects of society. One of his most important discoveries was how the majority of people think, act, etc. He called this majority of humankind the herd. The herd is a large and powerful group of humanity, and it usually rejects those who are different from itself. The people within the herd typically reinforce specific behavior and thought patterns on those they see as being outsiders. Nietzsche further established names for the mentalities of these two figurative groups: master morality and slave morality. Master morality is possessed by those who see themselves as being in the higher classes, who are satisfied with their lives. Slave morality, on the other hand, is possessed by the lower classes, who are outside the herd. Those who have this morality hold resentment for those with the master morality due to their higher status in society.
I'm going to kill you because you have so much money.
As a metaphor, Nietzsche uses the lamb and the bird of prey to exemplify these groups. The bird of prey can fly, he can see everything, he can eat lamb whenever he wants. He's got it made! But the lamb is stuck on the ground, constantly in fear of being eaten by the bird. He hasn't got much to live for. And because the bird of prey has a happening kind of life up there in the sky, eating meat all day whenever the heck he wants, the lamb is envious of such a life and holds great resentment toward the bird.
I'm going to kill you because you get to eat meat whenever the heck you want.
And, figuratively, this applies to the mentally established classes of humankind. Next, we'll briefly focus on Nietzsche's concept of the outsider from the herd. He refers to this individual as the higher man.
The higher man? I like the sound of that.
This person strays from the herd in order to chase his or her dreams, rather than do what the herd orders or expects. The higher man must have a strong mind and be prepared for criticism to be successful. With a tendency to stray from the herd come consequences. In this case, punishment. The herd doesn't always take kindly to those who are different, as previously discussed. Even though the higher man may successfully reach his dreams, the herd comes in yet again to reinforce their mentality and try to dumb the higher man down to its own level again. However, it's not just because the higher man is different that he ends up punished by society. One of the main driving forces, whether or not we realize it, is our love for revenge. So, in the end, the herd usually wins. Along with our other natural tendencies is what Nietzsche calls the will to power. Basically, this is the idea that we, as individuals, wish to become the alpha person, to dominate others, to really be in control. Also important is the will to ignorance. This idea is that we ignore what's really going on in the world to keep ourselves happy. In about the last decade of Nietzsche's life, after he'd been declared clinically insane, he hadn't yet completed writing about the will to ignorance. His sister Elizabeth took care of him while he was in this state. Well, sort of. And she took on the task of completing the rest of his writing. However, She, along with several others, misinterpreted his logic, and, well, this led to a couple of famous little catastrophes. One key thing not everyone interpreted was that Nietzsche didn't want his audience to follow his philosophy exactly, but to think independently and for themselves. Today, whether or not it was taken directly from Nietzsche, we see this idea of independent thinking being widely implemented in society. While some of his philosophy may not entirely agree with modern standards, I mean, for Pete's sake, he wrote it in the 1800s, his primary idea of independent thinking is something that more of us should look to as a society. And who knows, I probably misinterpreted what he wanted to, but hey, it sounded good. Now, to leave you with a quote from Nietzsche that you can interpret for yourself. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist.